So I think the key word there that you mentioned is discovered. I never looked at it like that way. Like I never thought someone's going to discover me. And I think that is a key thing that has stayed with me till, for the last 15 years. No one's out there looking to find you. And so when I was hanging out in the high school music room, and I'd made songs, and I'd also entered these like local DJ competitions, ones where they were just local to 50 people. I had my eyes set on the prize. I wanted to. I saw this club. It was called Family Nightclub, and I was never allowed into it because I was only 16 when I heard about it. And my older sisters had gone to the club, and they would come back and they would say, like, oh yeah, we went out clubbing last night and it was insane. This club's called Family, and there's 2,000 people there going crazy to a DJ. And in my mind, I was like, wow, like people are like, I was playing drums in a band, and so I understood live music, but I thought it was kind of interesting that you could choose songs, which is essentially what a DJ does, is that they're just choosing the right songs at the right time and mixing them in the right way, but they're not playing it like a live band does. And I would get these comments from people, from family members and my older siblings, friends. They would say, yeah, we went out clubbing and the DJ was amazing. And kind of, I guess it got ingrained in my brain. And so what I would do is I sold my drum kit and bought turntables. And back then there was no CDJs, it was all vinyl. So I was mixing on vinyl.
Okay.
And at home, so I would come home from school, and after I finished school, I would be in the garage mixing and all of that kind of stuff. And but yeah, I would spend a lot of time in school sending emails out to promoters around Australia, just constantly emailing everyone, and it was constant no, or no reply. But the very first reply I got, I can't remember his last name, but his name was Josh. And he was the promoter for a nightclub in Australia in Sydney called Gas Nightclub. And they had, I guess, an inbuilt crowd. And he wrote back to me and he went, you're 16? And like, I guess, enough emails and enough like pushing different people and different things. And someone's going to say yes eventually. And this guy said yes. And he said, all right, look, I can pay you $500 and book your flight and come and play at this club. And what was crazy about that was I knew straight away my dad would say no. Like there's no right. So I told him I was staying at a friend's house, and really I went to the airport, got on a flight and flew to a different city in Australia and played this really you got to think underground because like EDM was not a word. It had not blown up in America. Like America was hip hop and R&B. This is like, the music that I was hearing, the electronic music I was hearing was on dial-up internet in Australia.
Right.
So anyway, I remember still to this day, I remember sitting on that flight and looking out the window and looking down at all these like lights and thinking, geez, the world is big, and like, I'm lucky enough to be on a flight. Like that's crazy. That was crazy for me. That was wild. Like I'm a teenager in high school who's got like girls wouldn't even look at, and just nerdy. I'm on my way to play at this nightclub, and then I get there and he arrives at the airport, and then we go to he drops me off at the hotel, and he's like, here's where you're staying. And I'm staying in the W Hotel, which is a norm now, but when you're 16 and you're
right
on Monday, you have to go back to high school. You have to do chemistry and physics. Like I was just, whoa! I'm now in a world that is just, it was unfathomable. It was just completely like a shell shock. And so I stay in this hotel, this really comfortable bed. There's a minibar, and someone's just said, have whatever you want. You're on at this time. We'll have a driver pick you up, and we'll drop you off at the club. So all of that emailing and all of that, like it's not just emails, but I was like constantly working on music and constantly trying to be the best I could at mixing and learning my art and getting that information from watching other people online and hearing about other DJs and what makes a good show from a bad show. All of that just eventuated into this one show where I played to 2,000 people, something like that, in Sydney, not even in my own city. And remember, I'm sorry if I'm talking too much, but my dream at that age was one day when I'm 18, because in Australia, being 18 is the legal age to drink. Okay. So I was thinking, when I'm 18, my goal is going to be to play at Family Nightclub, and maybe not in the main room because it's like, out of, you just couldn't do that. It's just hard to imagine. Suddenly I'm there in Sydney, which is a much bigger city, playing to thousands of people. And on the flyer, it said, he's only 16. Like, the marketing. So the promoter used my age as a
marketing tool.
Yeah. And you got to imagine all these people like off their face at the club, like probably like there for their favorite DJ. But a cool factor for them was that the 16-year-old kid is going to come and give it a go. And I think I ripped it up, and I think the crowd thought so too. And so that caught waves quickly. And then I was able to go back to school on Monday, pretend I hadn't been anywhere, and then and from there I was able to email more and more people and my local nightclubs in Brisbane, where I grew up. And say, hey, I just played to 2,000 people at Gas Nightclub in Sydney. So you want to book me?
Yeah, you got those credentials now. You can do what you want in your own hometown.
Yeah, so it was a lot of hard work. It wasn't a discovery phase. It was actually more, I want this so badly that I'll do whatever it takes to get it. And then from there, I was playing in clubs in Brisbane and then the rest of Australia wanted to book me because I'm this kid.
Right.
Who mixes on vinyl, and was booked around Australia, and that's what led to the whole the popularity contest. Which I don't like popularity contests that much because they're not really a measurement of talent. But it worked out, and I toured Australia, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and vinyl's a whole different world. Like the vast majority of DJs now do not know how to work vinyl. They don't know how to DJ on vinyl, and that's a completely different realm of music. Yeah. So it's like, it seems like you're not only were you willing to work to get the bookings, right? Because how many people do you know that go out of their way to make that kind of an effort is the thing. So that's kind of the separating factor for you, it seems like. But at the same time, you're also a huge student of the craft in general. It seems like you just lived and breathed music on a daily basis. So
yeah, and still do. Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah.
You seem like a very passionate person in general. Like when you're into something, your whole heart.
Yeah. And it was, I can remember saying to my roommate, I won't name who the DJ is, but when I moved out of high school and was going to college, I remember saying to my roommate, if I'm not at that level by this age, I'll quit.